You are now listening to Carlie's Couch.
I'm Carlie.
And I'm Lex.
In this podcast, we discuss a wide array of topics about life and how to live your best life.
Whatever that looks like for you.
Hope y'all enjoy.
In this episode of Carlie's Couch, we're talking about living in the future versus living in the now. Yes, it's important that we have our goals, but how do we make sure that we stay present?
Ooh. I'm excited for this one. How you doing today, Lexi?
I'm good. I'm just a little tired. I'm just tired. I'm ready to relax quite a bit, enjoy my weekend. We film a lot of times on the weekends, guys. So this is our time to get together and do that. But I guess if in the present I am feeling good, and then thinking future-wise, things are good. So everything's good.
Nice. Yeah, I'm a little tired. My plane came in, like, it was delayed, so I didn't get home till almost 2. I'm like, Lord.
In the morning?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was
Dang.
terrible.
Yeah, that could throw you off. Travel isn't like how it used to be. Like, and you got to always remember to kind of give yourself space for the next day, like trying to hop into stuff or having meetings or doing things, and it's a lot. But, yeah, we do what we got to do. Okay, so this week we are thinking about, we say often that it's important to be in the present, and it is. We'll talk about that. Mm-hmm. And, of course, we talk about, like, what does our future look like? We talk about visualizing and, making sure you keep your eyes on where you want things to be and who you want to be and all of this and that. But where is, like, the balance and the space between like future-focused living and present living, or does it really need to even have a balance? So, Carlie, would you say that you're more of a future-focused person or a present-focused person?
I would say I'm a present-focused person. Overall, like, I really am intentional about being in the present, enjoying the moment. Even when I'm with someone or watching a movie, I really try to listen and be there and not be somewhere else. I do think about the future, but when people ask, what's your 3-year plan, your 5-year plan, your 10-year plan, your 20-year plan, I'm like, I have ideas, but I don't have that all laid out.
Another thing we're going to talk about a little bit, too, though, is what to do when you can't really see a future or if that's a problem, because sometimes I will feel like that, too, where it's like, what does it mean if I don't necessarily like have a full future thing that I'm thinking about or going towards, or if there, nothing really comes up for me too. For me, I would say I'm probably a little bit more future focused in that, I'm keeping track of the things that I want to get done and things I want to do. And I'm actually, maybe I'm mostly at this moment answering that way based off of the symptoms of it, because I, like run into things a lot. I just know I'm not always as present. Although I am also very intentional about my present time, but I think I would say I'm probably more future focused. And so what that means, though, to live in the future versus living in the now is that your focus is more so on the goals that you have, whether that's, and for me, that could literally be like whether it's thinking about something I have to do tomorrow or, maybe the bigger goals. It's not like I'm always in my head like about a car and a house and things I want, but just thinking about the things that might need to get done. Always planning. So that's really, really where I fall into that, because I just really enjoy planning and I like planning, and I want to think about prioritizing my list and changing the list and, how I'm going to go down the list, and then thinking about like what's next. And I know I do that quite a bit because, let's say if I'm cleaning things off the table, I may think about, okay, these 2 things go in the bathroom, but this thing goes over here. So if I should take this here so I can go there first, drop that, then go here and go here. And I try to plan how I can make that trip the most efficient. And think about like what's my order of how I do things. And sometimes I'm like, nah, let's just go, and they come back in. Like I have to like really try to do it like that, and then I'm like, I should just have the plan. So that's like what it is to be future focused. Talk about being present. Or if you want to add to that, future focus, but then also give us the present.
Yeah, I think present, or when I think about future focus, like definitely, like you said, goal oriented. You're always thinking, always planning. But I think there's a tendency to miss out on stuff in the present and actually not enjoy, like, when you do have the wins here, because you're even on to the next goal or on to the next thing. And I think, like, everybody's obviously on the spectrum somewhere, so you're not all future focused or all present focused, or maybe you are, not me though. But I think if you're far in on the future focus, like, you can really miss out on a lot of life just because you're always pushing to the next thing. And you might look back on life and be like, oh man, what did I enjoy it? Like, I did all this shit, but did I enjoy it? And so that's what I think of when I think about future focused. Present is, again, savoring the moment, tuning into what's here. And I think maybe some things you're missing out on there is if you're missing out on the planning and the thinking forward, and you could end up getting stuck or settling if you're not also being intentional about your goals and what you want in life in the future.
Okay, so then we're going to get into, like, kind of some of the pros and cons of each. With what you just said about being future focused, then is it necessarily, like, wrong to be future focused?
No, I think it's yes, and if you're never enjoying life, then yes, it can be problematic. If you are never present, if you are not intentional with spending time with people that you love, what are you building a life for if not to enjoy some of it? Like, and I think a lot of times you see that trope with entrepreneurs or businessmen who gain the whole world and lose their soul. Like, they lose their family and their kids don't like them because they never spent time with them and all that. And so I think that's, like, a very extreme end, but I don't think anything is wrong with it, because typically people who are future focused are goal oriented, really motivated, ambitious. You have a direction and you want to go there. And a lot of times, like, that's a tunnel vision, and that's a great skill to have.
I'll say definitely, I feel like I'm a combination of them. I don't know. I guess you kind of have to be. My goal is I want to pay attention to the present in a way where I have so much gratitude, and I see the things that I have right now, that I'm feeling these feelings of the abundance, or the feelings of I feel good. The same things that if you're too future focused, you're, like, waiting to feel that with some the things that happen. But my goal is my goal is to try to feel that now, as if, like, all the things are already kind of in place. And what happens is that I feel that there's a melding of, like, what the present and future living is. This gets hard to talk about.
It's not, though. But, I mean, it can be with the words, but I understand completely what you're saying. And I, even though we use different words and thinking, I'm also a combination, and it's not just, like, a balance. But, for example, like, when I was working in engineering, I didn't want to, and I use this story a lot, but it's a great example for a lot of things. But I wasn't necessarily happy. I wasn't where I wanted to be, and I knew that. But I still wanted to enjoy my time when I was there. So I did that to the best of my ability, while also trying to plan for the future and be in that future space. So when people talk about manifestations, the way you bring things into your life is you don't wait until something happens to be excited. You don't wait until you get the new client to feel excited about getting the client and grateful. You feel excited and grateful now, so that it raises your energy, so that then that can meet you on that frequency. And that's a big piece of, if you study any Neville Goddard, any Abraham Hicks, even Joe Dispenza.
A lot of people.
Yeah, they all talk about you have to be in that space before it happens. And so it's like, yeah, you are present and you're enjoying where you are, and you're not, like, lying to yourself, but also you're able to access those emotions so that it can easily flow into your life. And I try to be there too.
Yeah, hopefully between all of this, something made a little sense. Otherwise, you like, all right, click.
Missing a blessing.
But what can be weird, though, like we were saying earlier about this future focused living and goals and things, is sometimes it for me, it does, at least, sometimes it's hard to imagine, like, dang, where do I want to be, or what do I want things to look like in X amount of years, or what is the long-term goal? Sometimes it's hard, because I do think I enjoy feeling like I'm in the present. But I don't know. I don't know, like, why that's so hard. But what do you think could be going on when you're having difficulty with that?
Thinking about it for myself, because I have similar thoughts of, like, part of me is like, well, am I going to want that in this time? Like, I don't know. I want to, because we did our, what were they called? The life things, where we wrote out, like, our future life manifestos. We did an episode for a new year. We wrote life manifestos. Part of me was like, I do want all these things, but what if future me doesn't want these things? Or when I grow into this version, what if I don't like it? And so it could be like a problem committing to something because you're not sure. Like maybe you don't know yourself very well, or maybe there's other work and healing you have to do in yourself to then be able to think about what you might want. Like that could be one of the things.
I think it definitely sparks some self-discovery and awareness to like who you are and what you actually desire. Because I do feel that without desires for certain things, there isn't much movement in that direction. And so what I will say is like, I don't know if it's not necessarily a bad thing, or it's not always a bad thing if you can't visualize your future self. And I think that does have an effect on how you move, your motivations, like your hopes and dreams, and what you do in the present time.
Yeah, I think it also just challenges you to have those deeper talks, and also to gives you the opportunity to try on things that fit. So maybe when you're doing it, you visualize yourself with the family and in one location with the home. And then maybe the next time you try it and you see how you feel if you were a nomad and moved around and spent a couple months in different locations and you had your own business. You could think about that career-wise. Do I want to be an entrepreneur? I'm too scared. Versus like, what if I stay in this place for a long time and hate my career and I don't want to settle? And so if you're having trouble visualizing, it's not a bad thing. I think it just means you need to do more self-discovery, and then also gives you an opportunity to play and see what does feel good and ring true for you. And the beauty of it is you don't have to know everything right now. You just have to try, and then you'll feel what moves you forward.
Mm-hmm. But I think also with present focused living, because we talk about that as though, the goal, actually, I do feel like the goals are to be living in the present, to see the things right around you, feel on the things right around you, to be thinking on what you're seeing. And by that, like, when you're on a road trip or something, right? And like you're driving by the trees, you're like, oh, this pretty tree, and and you're seeing the things and everything's just like flowing through you. But then you start thinking about something, and next thing you know, you're like, how many lights did I go through? And like, you're not being present, and you just get off track sometimes like that. So I think the goal is to maintain being in the present, and it's like, I'm about to be confusing again. I'm still like in the present, aware of the person. You know why it's so hard to talk about present and future? It's because to me it's like I am the person in the future. So that's why it's so hard, because I'm like, think about the person I am, right, who I want, who I'm gonna be. Every time I'm about to say something, it's like who I want to be or who I'm gonna be. I'm like, but that is who I'm being now. Is what I'm. My goal is being that person now. And so I'm doing those things, and I'm catching when I'm not the future person, if that makes sense. That's kind of more how it feels to me.
You have elevated to a new sense of understanding, because when you feel like you either are this person or I'm not this person yet, and you put a barrier between the person you want to become, the person who is fit, the person who has his business, the great person in relationships, it allows it to stay away from you. And so that keeps you from a space of actually being able to receive that or be that person. And so that's a big shift in thinking. And I think that's cool that's hard for you to separate. Yeah. But if you find yourself really easy to separate, no, future Carlie is going to be able to do this, but present Carlie can't.
Feel like they're totally different.
Yeah. Then, oh, wow. Then there's a lot of space for you to recognize that the choices you make right now and how you feel and what you do are the things that bridge that gap. And that it's accessible. So anytime it's something farther away, you're just creating space. And so I would say that's a con of in the present. If you feel like, oh, well, Carlie in the future has a really successful business. Well, what's the difference between present Carlie and that Carlie? Well, I'm either scared, I'm not willing to do the work, I don't want that like long-term responsibility, so I'm just kind of being here. Maybe I'm not preparing myself to do those things, or I'm just really not being honest with myself about if that's really where I want to be. Like that's the con of quote unquote always being in the present, is you can be using that as an excuse to keep you from becoming who you quote unquote want to be.
Especially if you have those ideals about who you want to be.
Yeah, you just talking at that point. You're not really doing it.
And that just leads to a bunch of other like kind of stresses and anxieties and things like that. But the pros, of course, of present focused living are that you're most likely living more so in gratitude. When I'm present, the more present I am, like I'm really enjoying this show I'm watching right now, or I'm really into this book I'm reading, or you know, you're feeling happy about the breeze and, you know, all the little things and the big things. But it's in that time of feeling where it's like, I don't know, that's a powerful feeling, and that's when you feel like anything can be happening. So my recommendation is like trying to stay in a sense of gratitude as much as you can, and maybe that is maybe an easier task that could help somebody stay present if it's like, you know, everything you're touching and doing is just like thank you, thank you, thank you, and you're seeing a bigger picture in everything that you're doing, even what feels small. You typically can have less stress because if I'm thinking of the present and, you know, it's the weekend right now that we're taping this, and, you know, I could actually choose to not think about, you know, work stuff maybe for a day or two, or, you know, it's just, you don't have to stress and think about that. That doesn't have to mull in your mind and in your brain. And then you can also have stronger relationships if being present, seeing somebody, hearing them, conversing with them, just paying attention as opposed to your mind being elsewhere.
Yeah. Okay, so how do we balance the two?
Well, obviously I don't know how to answer this anymore. The thing is, like, nothing is bad. And so my eyes, if you're a nerd, if you know Death Note, how they have the Shinigami eyes, it's like I have eyes of like, oh, all I see is wins. Like,
some apples.
Yeah, or even like with something happened with like a project or something, it's like, immediately I'm like, so we need to do blah, 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 or this needs to be instilled, or like, you know, it's just like I'm literally elevating into the person who is capable of handling all this stuff, because as things happen, I'm handling it, or I just see like, what's the plus up? And so you keep plussing up. So yeah, the balance and acknowledging, you know, that everything is for my level up, while having an idea of a desire of what things I want leveled up, or what desire for what things I do want to see and experience in my life.
Yeah, I think it's important to, very yogi answer, but being rooted in gratitude. So being rooted down so you can rise up. So I think a balance, what it could look like in your ideal self, is you know yourself, you are in touch with what you want and where you want to be, and you're also able to intentionally enjoy the present moment. Not to a space where you're not planning for the future, but you're not allowing planning to interrupt your enjoyment. So you can go out with friends and have a good time. You can read a book at the park and not feel guilty. You can take time for yourself and not be overrun with all the things I should be doing and need to be doing, and allowing that pressure of capitalism and productivity and professional productivity, capitalism, and all that run your life. I think that's the difference. Is that. And then to Lexi's point, the stuff she's talking about is the mindset shift of knowing that everything works for my good, no matter what it is. And that's really hard to accept. And there's like, we can have a very nuanced conversation about that, but there's a deeper understanding when that things only present themselves to me when I'm ready to face them and when I'm ready to grow. And so to get excited about obstacles and things that come into your life, because you know that everything is working for your good and for your highest self, and that you are your highest self right now.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
She is my translator for today. What are the signs that you're leaning too heavily in a direction? I think for sure, if you're too future focused, the biggest sign is anxieties. At first I wanted to say anxiety for both, but I can't quite. I think the maybe leaning too far on the present side is an aloofness kind of, or a
detachment. Not in a good way, but like, I would say maybe unfulfilled is a better word for me.
Being in the too present focus.
Yeah, being too present focused, because you're like settling.
You're always doing what's here, but it's like.
Yeah, so aloofness is a good one, because you're kind of like, whatever. But also maybe like an unfulfilled, like, man, you want to do more, but like at night, like, maybe I'm not, or maybe I'm not where I want to be, and you don't want to look up in 30 years and be like, oh damn, I ain't do nothing. I just was here. And you think that's another movie trope. You think about seeing all those people who like lived it up during high school, and that was it. That was their whole life. And then they continue to do that, like, in their life. They go to the same places and they hang with the same people.
I see. And so it's like you could be present without any like forward movement into a different space.
Yes,
I guess.
And I think that's like when you can tell that it's bad, or maybe it's not even rooted in gratitude. It's rooted in comfortability and a fear of expansion, because you don't want to fail, or you're scared to bet on yourself.
Yeah, and it's easy to just say like, oh, I don't care about this other stuff, but you probably do. Mm-hmm. You probably do. Excuse me. So let's wrap this up with some practical tips. Y'all already know what they're gonna be, because it is what it is. And though I think that every time we give these same like 5 tips, it's still like you can make it relevant to like with this topic, right? To think about exactly what you're thinking about during these times of getting aware and grounded with it. So one of the first things, and this is kind of something I was alluding to earlier, but like journaling from both of the angles, like, writing to your future self or like about the desires you have and the things you have, and taking the time to write about the things that you're grateful for. So like actually just taking the time to do both, it could be helpful.
Yeah, and you can also use journaling as a great way to get to know yourself and self-discovery and see what it is that you really want. Mm-hmm. Another tool is meditation and mindfulness. Sitting with yourself, allowing yourself to be still, learning how to be still is one of the biggest things you can do for presence. Like it's so important to truly see what's around you and feel gratitude and to be present in your body and to actually check in with yourself and see how you're feeling.
Mm-hmm. Another thing you can do is focus on setting some smaller, very realistic milestones, as opposed to just thinking about the very big things. There's so many steps in between. And so maybe thinking about what it looks like if I, wrote 5 emails this week, as opposed to thinking about, okay, I want to get 8 clients in next month.
Yep. And another one is, or the last one is to learn to pause and check in, like thinking about what is here for me right now. I would take that a step further and in your check-ins, like was like at the end of the day when you're journaling or laying in bed before you go to sleep, was I present with myself today? Was I present with my loved ones? And then also, what did I do today to help my current/future self, like towards my goals? Like doing those small check-ins and having those small milestones are so important, but that's a great space to hold yourself accountable.
Yes. So take all of this information. Think about if you're more present or future focused in your life right now. And if you feel like you need a balance, take a look at that as well. Your homework for this week is spend 5 minutes to write about a future focused self, to write about where you want to be, and then take 5 minutes to write about what you're grateful for, like we were just mentioning. But what I also want you to do to plus that up is to really pay attention to how you feel when you do each. Does it feel different to talk about what you're grateful for? Do you have a different energy when you talk about what you're grateful for? Or do you have a different energy when you talk about, being more future focused in the future you? So pay attention to that this week. Let us know what you come up with. You can hit us at carliescouch.com and, of course, Carlie's Couch across all social media. Have a good week.